I see you writing more things on your to-do list than you can actually get done in the day. So today I'm going to help you out with that. The other day, Imogen wrote in and asked how many hours a week I actually work. She said, I'm in awe of your productivity. Well, let me tell you how it really goes down, Imogen. So I wanted to break all of this down again now that it has changed since I've become a mom. So I've done a video before on how I set up my planner at the beginning of the year, but specifically now I want to show you kind of what a week looks like in the life. I'm weirdly fascinated with what people do with their time. Maybe you are too. Now, specifically, I use a planner called the Simplified Planner from Emily Lay's company Simplified. I've used it probably for about 3 years now. But again, as a lot of you have asked for a visual, and like I said, I love to see how people plan their days. Here we go. Let's get behind the scenes. If we've not met yet, hey there, my name is Ashlyn Carter. I am a conversion copywriter for creative entrepreneurs, and this is episode number 70 here on the Ashlyn Writes channel. Over here, I talk about how creative entrepreneurs like you can work from a place of rest, not hustle 24/7, both by selling more with your words and stewarding your time well. If that sounds like something that you'd be into, then I would invite you to hit subscribe, that button below. So before I put pen to paper in the sky every week, there is a very important step before, and that is planning your goals. I use a tool called Power Sheets and have for years to do this. Also, when it comes to our business, I have been really inspired both by Todd Herman's 90-day year program as well as Gino Wickman's Traction book and program. What I like about both of those lenses is that they help remind me as a creative entrepreneur that I need to be nimble. I need to be able to pivot on a dime. Projects come up all the time that I get excited about, and I may want to change and go that direction, but I also need to stay true to the North Star of the goals that I set at the beginning of the year or the quarter. One other thing here to remember is that a task is different from a project. A project has lots of steps and tasks, and a task is a single action item. Make sense? So when you are creating your to-do list every day, it always helps for me to remember that because I get so excited about things and I'll add them to my to-do list, but I have to gut check myself. Is this a project or is this a task? Because if I've filled up my whole day with all sorts of projects, I'm gonna feel super defeated at the end of the day when nothing's done. Second thing here, I batch my days, and I've been doing this for about 2 years. It's going nowhere, especially now as I come back and try to work on a little bit of a condensed schedule now that I'm a mom. Now, I've created a video and free how-to guide on this, but basically what I'm talking about is grouping your tasks into like containers and tackling all of those on each day. Again, I'm not going to get too much into this now, but I just wanted to give you that before I show you my planner because I think that may affect how you look at things. Checkpoint 3, I highly recommend always keeping some sort of huge brain dump list of all of the tasks, the projects, and the ideas floating around in your head. My Art of Efficiency students will know that I call this a parking lot, and I essentially keep it open next to me all day when I'm working. It's nothing fancy. It's just a blank page inside my Power Sheets. But whenever I'm working on a project and I have that light bulb moment, that aha moment, I really just jot it down over there to get it out of my brain and put it somewhere so it's not clogging up all my thoughts. If you've never done this before, just sit down and brain dump every single thing. It makes it easier when you go to selecting your goals or your projects or what you can actually get done in a given time because you have a whole list of things that you could choose from. Checkpoint 4, there's something called the Eisenhower Matrix that I just want you to be aware of. Named after a very efficient US president, this is the concept that the most important things do not always scream the loudest. There are 4 quadrants here: not urgent and important, urgent and important, urgent, not important, and not urgent and not even important. So once you realize that all of your tasks fall somewhere on this, it really helps you see what big rocks go in first. And if it's not important and not urgent, then you probably need to cut back on it a little bit. Okay, let's jump to the planner itself. Now, I also use a hybrid system of analogs, pen to paper, and digital, mostly because I strongly believe in writing things down, especially now that I've realized pregnancy brain turned right into mom brain. If I do not write something down, there is a huge chance it's not going to get done. Let me show you a quick peek of my Google Calendar and how I block my time, because that's not in my Simplified Planner, but that is kind of the undergirding truth here to how I spend my days and my time. Again, I told you about batch days earlier. You can kind of see that here. I also like a tool like Google Calendar because it's a shared solution. I can use it with different masterminds that I'm in. I use it with my team. I even use it with my husband. Plus, you can drop in links or directions, addresses. That kind of stuff is so helpful to me when I'm on the go and need to whip out my phone and make sure I know what office I'm going into in a certain building. Okay, the first thing I do in this guy is on Sundays. That's my planning block. I know some people really like to use Fridays or Saturdays or even Mondays as their planning day. Sundays work for me. This whole process of planning takes about 20 to sometimes 40 minutes on any given Sunday. The first thing I do is put in those big rocks, the things that are not urgent but important. These are the things that are so important to me just as a wholehearted person. This includes things like present mornings. Thank you, Claire Diaz-Ortiz, for that idea. It stands for pray, read, express, schedule, exercise, nourish, and track. As in track your time. My morning routine has expanded and contracted a little bit based on seasons of life, but I usually put these in and I try to cross off as many of them as possible before my day starts. I also go ahead and put in time with friends and family, so this means date nights. Wes and I are really working hard at least having one a week. We do not mind taking my little baby with us, but we have also tried to find some time where we can go on a date, just the two of us. This also includes any goal setting stuff that I need to get done on a day-to-day basis. So basically this looks like just a little pocket of time in the morning and at the end of every day. So in the mornings, I do my rest to work, ramp up routine, and at the end of the day, I try to always hit my work to rest, wind down routine. This is just a list of a few tasks that I do both to get ready for the day in my business and to wind down at the end of the day, call it quits, and leave and go hang out with a cute little baby. The second thing I do is a list sweep, and this is an idea that I got from Michael Hyatt. Basically, what I do here is look at all of my Power Sheets goals. Again, I read through all the goals I said at the beginning of the year every single week. I get completely distracted all the time. This helps me remember what I'm going after in the first place. I also look at my business goals here, and I look at that big long brain dump list that I've come up with. Remember, from out of this, I know my monthly goals because I have those in my Power Sheets, but on this Sunday planning time, I pick my big three for the week. Just the three things that at the end of the week, I have got to get these things done. Now, typically I just write these down on a sticky note and I move it from day to day during the week. That helps because, again, if it's not in front of me, I just forget it. There's also a notepad that is from the Cultivate What Matters team. They gifted me that. It's been great. I think that it would be a great solution if this is something that you're interested in, setting some big three. It looks like it has great space for that. I've tried to use it a little bit on and off, and it's worked well too. Now that my big rocks are in and all of my lists sweep, we move on to number 3. That is getting into the nitty gritty, the day-to-day appointments and tasks. The first thing here is looking at that Google Calendar. So I pull it up and I typically try to write out the next 2 weeks, so I always get a little bit ahead. Basically, I'm making sure that I sync both my paper planner and my computer calendar. It seems like there is always something in that digital calendar, maybe like a podcast interview or something I've completely space cadetted on, haven't remembered it all. And when I see it there and I actually write it down, then I will remember it and show up for it during the week. I sound awful, but I really cannot remember things if I don't write them down. The fourth thing I do is the meal planning and kind of family prep for the week. So my husband does shift work. He's usually not home at night, and I am also going to be the first to say I don't always love cooking. I remember my mom growing up would say, I would like cooking if I didn't have to do it all the time, and I kind of agree with that. So I probably only cook for us as a family 3-ish nights of the week. That's a pretty standard number. Do a lot of frozen meals, and we do like to eat out when we do have time together because we don't always get family nights. So it's at this point in the week that I put in an Amazon Prime order. Every now and then we'll go to the grocery store, but usually I just order the groceries online. We also have a little market up the street from where we live, so I try to consolidate things. If we need to pick up some meat for the day, then I can also maybe tie that in with some stroller running time. Always trying to combine. The final thing I do is just a big sweep of the week and make sure I've got some white space. I have to have time where I'm doing nothing. I'm also a very slow processor. I require a good bit of time to journal and think and kind of consider my thoughts and see where I want them to land. So by making sure that I have 1 or 2 nights of the week where we don't have much going on at all and I can just think and recap in my head what's going on in my life, that's been helpful. Okay, so let me show you a day-to-day what that looks like. I got the idea from Emily Lay herself. I write family and life kind of to-dos from the bottom up, and I write business to-dos from the top down. Now, I told you I pick a big 3 every day, so I usually just write those 3 things, skip 3 lines under them to write in each of the little subtasks to get that project done. Now that doesn't leave a whole lot of space for other tasks, but I think that is a really good thing. That's why I like this planner so much. Remember, I told you at the beginning of the video that I have completely been like you maybe in the past and put way too many things on my to-do list than I can actually get done. I also wanted to tell you there are so many times that I don't get done what is on this task list, so I typically just draw a little arrow and I move it to the next day. At the end of the week, I go back and look at that list. If there is a task that never got done, that whole week, kept moving every single day, then I probably need to put that on the brain dump list or consider moving it to a different time. Something's not going on right there. But again, that gives me a visual so I can see it. Every day when I sit down, if I didn't do it the night before, I go ahead and pick out those big 3 things that I'm gonna tackle during any given day. I also time block my day, so I spend a little bit of time looking at each task and thinking, how long will this actually take? And then I put it somewhere on the day, looking at the time stamps over on the side to determine where that will fall. Since I use this little bottom part for planning our meals every single day, I usually just leave that blank. Sometimes I write random to-dos that come up or take notes on a call. After I do that every morning, I get into my day. Planning my week is not easy, and I am definitely first to say I'm not perfect at this. If you want to see some of the many mistakes that I have made as an entrepreneur, then you have to watch What's Next. I get real with you and I share with you the top 10 mistakes that I've made as an entrepreneur.